Okay, welcome back. We're going to continue our introduction to conditional statements. This is the second video. Now you're going to notice each of these videos deals with a very small component of conditional statements. And one of the reasons for that is I'm trying to break it up into as small chunks as possible to help with understanding. So the last video we looked at the if statement, which is structured as if with a condition, and then we had an opening brace and a closing brace. Now we're going to add what's called an else statement. What an else statement does, and there should be a closing brace there. What an else statement does is it deals with the situation when the if statement fails. So let's take a look. So if you remember in our last video, we had this little program that simply checked to see if someone picked the passcode right. And right now we see there's a constant called passcode with the value 105, and the user has an opportunity to input that passcode. And then we say if the passcode is equivalent to A, and I stress the importance of using the term equivalent here, because that just means you're checking if they are the same. It prints out access granted. If it's not equivalent to passcode, what it does is skips this block, what we call a chunk of code between two braces is called a code block. So it skips it and just continues on. So our program is great if you happen to get the passcode correct, 105, access granted. But if I run it and I type in 999, I don't get any feedback from the program, and that's very important. As the programmer, you want to think about what the user experiences, and it's important that the user gets feedback that their input is incorrect. So what we want to do is, in all other cases, we want to output to the screen incorrect passcode. So what I'm going to do is add an else component to this if structure. So we call this an if-else structure, because what happens is if this condition is not met, what it does is it goes into an else structure. So it's important that the else is put directly after the if structure. If it's not, it won't work. And else always has to be paired with an if statement. So else system.out.println access code incorrect, or whatever we want. If you really wanted to get fancy, you could have the computer make a bing sound. So if we run this now, please input our access code, and if we put 105, access granted, and if I run this again, please input passcode, and if I put 999, or anything that isn't 105, and I hit enter, I get access code incorrect. So that is an else, if-else structure, and one of the key things it's important to remember is that this else structure has to connect to an if statement. Often what happens is students try and do something like this. And so what the error now is saying is that this else structure isn't paired with an if structure. So we can't have anything between the if and the else. I hope that video helped.